Everybody, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the Mystical Wellness Podcast. This evening, we are joined by May from Calma Healing Space, and she is a dedicated practitioner of traditional East Asian medicine, specialising in helping women navigate the pressures of modern life with a calm and intuitive presence. She supports those experiencing work-related stress, chronic fatigue, anxiety, shoulder tension, and much more, drawing upon ancient diagnostic methods to uncover the root causes beneath physical and emotional symptoms. May crafts personalized treatments that go beyond surface relief. Her holistic approach helps restore energetic balance, ease physical tension, and guide the body back into harmony. So through this work, May empowers her clients to move more freely and sleep more deeply, embrace a calmer and more joyful lifestyle. So if you are tired of just managing symptoms and are ready to feel truly well, her wisdom this evening and gentle healing space that she offers will, give you a path to renewal. So May, thank you so much for joining us this evening. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're
It's a pleasure.
welcome. It's nice to connect with you. So I know that you're based in Cheadle and Stockport,
Yeah.
and we've connected in the show circuit. So it's lovely to talk to you one-on-one because we've not really had much chance to talk to each other before. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how things got started with you and your Eastern medicine.
So my background's originally massage. I did the usual college 1 year course where it had the blend of massage, aromatherapy, reflexology. And as I was treating clients for usually back pain and the usual niggles, I realised there needs to be something more, because why are they still coming back? It's not, it's just managing the musculoskeletal problems, yet they're still coming in for treatment. Over a period of time, I ended up discovering this course on gua sha where you use the jade tools for face treatments to rejuvenate the skin. And on that course is where I met the professor of acupuncture. And then during one of the workshops, I booked in a one-on-one treatment with him. He did the whole consultation, asked me about my health. So my own health, my own background is I've always suffered from low back pain. So if I walked around for a long time or I stood for a long time, I just get this numbness in my back. And I just thought it's like a muscular weakness. So I've always done yoga. I did Pilates as well. One time it got so bad, I was flat on the floor and crawling on the floor for a week. So I needed assistance to use the toilet. It was that bad. And that was the last. That was kind of like the last straw. And then, so as he went through the consultation, he said to me, did a whole, about my period history, because we're women, it's so important. He said to me, your chronic back pain is actually coming from gynecological issues. At the time, thinking, what is he talking about? And this is me saying that. So I can honestly say, even that I didn't believe in this stuff at the time. So I was thinking, how does this even make sense? And then over time, it does make sense, because our whole body's linked. The front and the back are mirrors of each other. And when we have chronic internal organ issue, what happens then? It radiates to our back. And since then, I haven't had issues. I've managed my symptoms myself, so I don't have any back problems anymore. I don't have to get out of bed and feel like a little old lady where it's like everything's creaking and I'm like, ah. Oh, and by the way, Julia, you're muted, so I thought I'd better let you know.
That's okay. Yeah, I mute to allow you to talk because I'm
Oh,
on speaker view. And
but I think it's nice to hear you laughing. I
oh
can
no, I'm
see you
sorry.
laughing, but you're not.
But my son is also a gamer, so what you
Uh,
hear sometimes is him in the background screaming. So I do mute myself intermittently. Don't be put off by it. Yeah.
okay, all right then. Yeah, so and even though I've learned acupuncture since then, um, when people come to see me in the clinic, I'm just amazed by the results they have. So one of the most recent ones is a lady who's had chronic shoulder problems, been for over 10 years. So she's put up with it for over 10 years, been to GP, been to hospital, been to physio. Gave her some exercises which she managed to do at first, and it eased the problems, and then it wore off. She had the steroid injection again. That helped her for a week, and she was really happy. After a week, it actually came back 10 times worse. And for her, fortunately, one of the people I met networking, who's her friend, referred her to come and see me. We had a consultation online, and she was sold by me. I'm just like so grateful. So she came to my clinic, and then after the first session, her back, because it radiated to her back as well, so she started having back pain as well. The back pain disappeared straight away. She's still got niggling shoulder pain, but she has had it for 10 years, so that will take a few months for that to ease. But she's able to sleep on that side now, whereas before it was almost like she just couldn't use that side at all. So
Yeah,
she's able to raise her arm, do simple things like tap, but put things in her back pocket, things that we take for granted when we don't have any issues.
So for people who've not had acupuncture, tell us a bit about what that is and how it works basically. Because I've had acupuncture. I've even had spiritual experiences off acupuncture, off certain head points and things like that. But yeah, let us know what's for someone who was thinking about it, but they're scared of needles and stuff.
Yeah.
What does it look like to have that session?
So firstly, then even though they call it needles, they're not the same as what's used in Western medicine. They're really, really fine. When people see them, it's a bit relieved, really. And some certain points, there is this, I would call it discomfort, and that's when areas where there's been a long-term blockage of energy. Once that needle goes in, it releases. It's like tapping into electrical circuits. So all of a sudden, you've got this surge that will cause a bit of discomfort. But then everyone comments, "Oh, it was really niggling at first, but now that it's eased, I just feel really relaxed." And that's a sensation that travels throughout the whole body. And then people always fall asleep with the needles in. It is a very relaxing treatment, because when we're in pain, it's actually blockage and stagnation. That's what causes tiredness and fatigue. People only like think in terms of the physical. I was going to use the word reality. That's what pops into my head. I always try to use what pops into my head. So yeah, the physical reality.
That's okay. We're open to.
I know you guys are, so it'll be okay.
Mystical wellness. We're open.
So and people don't look past that. So, I mean, in school we are taught, the physical stuff in biology. Even GCSE biology, but when you look deeper, even in at GCSE level, we've got cells, and in the cells we've got energy. The mitochondria is actually our battery. We are electrical beings. First and foremost, we're actually electrical beings, and this physical body is just an illusion. And people need to remember, this is the most, again, but you guys won't mind, it's really, really advanced technology. What we carry around every day is super advanced technology. We need to show it some respect, and I think people have kind of lost that respect because of what people have been in a way taught, like this stuff about calories in, calories out. I know one of my clients that I saw briefly, she said her friend has this mindset because he's focused on calories in, calories out. So he said, it doesn't matter that I put junk food in, as long as I put say like whatever it is, like, I don't know, 2,000 calories for a meal. So as long as I've got that 2,000 calories in terms of energy into my body, then I'm fine. And he doesn't think of it in terms of the nutrition, the building blocks that he's giving his body. If he's giving his body junk, then your body will build itself into junk. We are what we eat, because our cells are constantly being replaced. So if all your body's got to use is just processed food, it's going to make the most of it. And at first it'd be fine, but if imagine 5-10 years of that poor quality, people will have health issues. And I think this is why we have seen a lot of people with autoimmune disease recently, in recent
Yeah.
times. I've just come back from a one-day workshop focusing on autoimmune disease. So now I know a lot more about it. And again, recently there's a lot of focus on gut health. So there's more awareness of it, but it's not enough, I don't think.
So
And
what does
people,
the autoimmune disease, how does that, is that like fibromyalgia?
yeah, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, MS is another one, chronic fatigue, all those, and even oh wait a minute, let me see, psoriasis. That's actually an autoimmune disease as well.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I get eczema ever since I was a child. I've been like head to toe eczema. It's a lot better these days than it used to be. But I've got osteoarthritis in my feet and ankle joints, which is why I'm waiting for that surgery. So I occasionally I do have acupuncture to help me with the joint pain and joint swelling. At the moment, I'm getting like water buildup in my feet, and I don't know what's changed. You know, I don't know where it's coming from. So that's kind of something that I'm dealing with at the moment. But yeah, I've not had acupuncture for a while. We've got here T1D in the chat. I'm not sure what that means. Do you understand T1D?
no.
Lee, can you expand on that, please? And we can see, we can get some info on that. Lee's a type 1 diabetic. Is that what we're talking about?
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
So suddenly got it, yeah. So Lee has issues with sleeping and
Right.
monitoring the sugar levels and things like that. And she can sleep for 24 hours. So that's why
Oof.
when she comes on the group, it's like, yeah, she's awake. So,
Oh.
and she's self-managing and doing really well at it, but it is so erratic. Is this something that you think the Eastern medicine could help with?
Definitely can help with, because we can look at her diet and tailor her diets at the moment. It's just there are people who are trying to look after their health, but there's lots of misinformation out there.
Mm,
And even though one thing is, like say for example, coaches, there's all kinds of coaches now. One of the big ones that's come up are menopause coaches,
yeah.
and also fitness coaches specialising in women over 40.
Mm,
The problem with that is, yes, it works for say, okay, over 50% of people that of their clients, but there's going to be people it doesn't work for,
yeah.
because in Eastern medicine, and I'm talking about Ayurvedic medicine as well, we see each person as an individual. Our makeup is completely unique. Our constitution is unique. So we need to see, like for someone who's okay with tomatoes like really good for them, for example. For another person, that could actually bring out hives in their skin because they might have an allergy to tomatoes, for example. Something.
Well, that the nightshade vegetables is something that came into my awareness last year because I was hosting a overnight retreat weekend, and out of like the 12 people there, at least 3 people couldn't have red foods because they were being nightshade. So some people couldn't have potatoes, tomatoes, red peppers, capsicum, and things like that. And we were trying to do things like goulash. Well, a lot of the goulash is all like tomato paste and things like that. We had to totally redo the menu to try and fit around this nightshade issue. So then I started to bring that into my diet, and that really changed my stomach. The pain that I had in my joints changed and things like that. So do you know much about nightshade vegetables or the red foods? How would you manage something like that with Eastern medicine?
Again, I think it depends on what's going on with you at the time. You might not always have that flare up with, unless you've got permanent allergy to it. But
Mm,
again, if a body is in good health, you shouldn't have any allergies at all. That's the belief in Eastern medicine.
yeah,
So at that current time, your body might not be suited to that kind of food. So you have to let it heal. And then once your body's in balance, you should be able to eat the correct food. So it
yeah.
just depends on what's going on with your body at that current time to decide on what food is best to address the balance.
Yeah. Now we have one of the ladies in our group has got like that long COVID,
Oh yeah,
right? Have you come across much of that kind of symptoms?
I haven't come across anyone with long COVID, but I do know how to treat long COVID symptoms. So one
Mm.
of the best things for long COVID is a treatment called Korean hand therapy. It's really, really good. And having said that, I am planning. So one of the things I've got in the pipeline
This
is to do a workshop.
this is just acupuncture in the hands, isn't it?
It's just acupuncture in the
Yeah.
hands, and not everything has to be with needles as well. So people who are needle phobic, there are other ways to activate the points, the energy points. You can use magnets, you can use gold and silver pellets. So gold is um, tonifies, so supports that point, and then the silver calms it down, sedates. So sometimes it depends whether the point, that organ. So in Eastern medicine, I'll rewind a little bit. In Eastern medicine, it's split up into 6 major organs. Those 6 organs are paired, so yin and yang,
Yeah.
and then those ones are what the meridians, the energy lines, are named after. So it's named after the organs. And then what happens, so all the acupuncture points are divided up along those meridians. So say for example, long COVID, lung, it tends to be a lung issue, so probably work on some of the lung points. And what happens is certain points will need to be calmed because it's too active, which means we will use, say, like silver, that calms it. And then sometimes it might be depleted, so then we use gold to
Mm.
bring that energy up.
So
That's to simplify.
if it was fatigue, just general fatigue in the body,
Yeah.
would it be the similar process?
So with general fatigue, so at the moment we talk about autoimmune disease, and most people only come to my clinic chronic issues. I've realised, because
Mm.
at first my focus is I'm so passionate about women's health, because women's health is, I think Western medicine just doesn't really have the answers for things like menopause and
Yeah.
stuff. We're very neglected anyway. But people won't come to me for things like that, so they can manage on the NHS with HRT or manage those symptoms. They're not so bad that they will see the need to come to my clinic. So what I'm seeing are people with really chronic issues, like the lady with a 10-year shoulder problem. And when it's chronic, acupuncture isn't actually the best form of treatment, as in like using needles. Still Eastern medicine, but we have to use something called moxa, which is the burning of a herb, which and a Western word, English word, is mugwort.
Oh,
So
mugwort.
yeah, mugwort.
Oh,
Mugwort is
wow.
actually
So
really powerful for women,
yeah, we
for
put it
women's
in every
health.
single spell, mugwort.
Ah, you should
I've just
drink.
used so much mugwort because it amplifies and it has
Ah,
so many health benefits. That's really interesting.
where did you get your mugwort from? Where did you source
I generally
yours?
used to just buy mine either from the Wiccan lady in Leeds, or I get it on. I think there was a seller that I got on eBay, and they were growing it in Wales. So it was just, but it was a while ago since I've got it. These days, I only get small things.
Ah,
Yeah, but that's really interesting.
yeah. I met a
Yeah,
guy recently at a yoga event, and he says there's loads locally. He knows how to forage. He's a forager. He's a
yeah.
herbalist. So he's going to take me up. They're actually not um, in season at the moment. So where he says once they're in season, he's going to take me on a forage walk.
Yeah.
So
But also talk to Tavi, her store.
ah,
And he does the events. He's very tall and it's
oh,
from, yes,
I
to have
think
a
I've
word
heard
with
of him.
him. Yeah. And see, because he does mushrooms and lots of other things and herbs, and he might be able to help you source that as
Ah.
well. So what you would burn the mugwort, and then you would put the
Burn it
smoke
on
into the
the, yeah,
body.
yeah, yeah, basically. So they
Wow.
come in pre-formed. You can have it loose, or they come pre-formed, like little cakes. I guess that's the best way to
Yeah.
put it. Little cakes, and they're usually on like a ceramic um, plate, so it sits on top, and
Mm.
then there's like a hole bit, if anyone's had Hopi ear candles, it's a bit like that. So it
Okay.
creates a chimney, you burn it, and then the heat goes, the body draws the heat in.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And there
Yeah.
is, I know the audience here,
Mm.
they're more open-minded.
Yeah.
But for people who aren't, there are experiments that have proven
Mm.
the effects of burning muckworts. They've done thermal imaging where they followed, they scan the body. There's loads of blue areas where the body's got a lot of cold areas, and then after burning it for say 20 minutes, it starts to warm up, and that's when the healing takes place. When the
Yeah.
body's cold, the energy's depleted and it doesn't function properly.
It's interesting. I do not very often, but I am trained to do the Thai massage, which has the, the herbal
Oh
compress.
yeah.
Yeah, so I do that where we heat up the hot compress and then we massage the body with that selection of Thai herbs and that. It is beautiful, it's lovely, and that's like steamy and
Yeah.
yeah, probably similar. I don't know, maybe similar. But we work on the sun lines of the body rather than the meridians. But
Yes.
we're still doing front and back, full body and face and things like that. So it's really good. Um, Tell us a little bit about the balance, the yin and yang of the chi, because is that a big part of the work that you're doing is working with balance?
Yes. So yin is, so the organs, the 12 organs I mentioned, 6 of them are yin and then 6 of them are yang. We mainly focus on the yin organs, they're the main ones, and then the paired ones are like the secondary ones. So, and all of it is about balance. So for example, because we're all women here, menopause and aging actually, but menopause especially, say the symptoms of hot flushes, that's actually caused by the yin energy depleting as we age, especially the kidneys, and kidneys functions to cool the body down. So as that's depleting, it's the body struggling to cool itself down. Hence we get that heat. Hence we get a lot of women going through that transition phase. They experience things like high blood pressure, the brain fog. I know in Western medicine there's a lot of focus on HRT and things, but I'm not. I mean, if it works for some people, I'm not actually going to tell people. I'm not going to dictate and say, oh, you have to do it this way. That's fine if people are happy with that. I'm not sure whether it is a good idea because our hormones are naturally supposed to decline. So if you keep putting the hormones back in, how is the body ever going to get used to not having those hormones at that level?
Yeah.
It's a natural part of the aging process.
Because I remember reading that in Japan, they didn't even have a word for menopause because the female population didn't go through the same process that we go through. So there was no word. The word has come in now because it's become popular culture in a way, but it was all controlled with diet and
Yeah.
exercise. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a natural process of the body. Yeah. Have you had much experience with that kind of things? Working with the diet, and do you do dietary stuff as well?
I do dietary stuff. So one of my clients who's seen me, she had catarrh, chronic catarrh. I have no idea what that's like. That's not something I've experienced. It just really frustrated her to have that constant catarrh. So she came to see me after the first sessions. She said she would give it like a number 6, and it's improved a lot. I gave her a diet plan, and that's really helped reduce it. So there's certain foods that can cause things to be worse, and by eating the right food, she said she feels a lot better as well. And it's just that clarity of having someone give guidelines on what you should eat rather than, I mean, obviously everyone can do the research themselves, but it's all trial and error, where you have to try one thing, it works for a bit, then you get frustrated because you go, especially when we go through that transition, all of a sudden we go from being okay, and then the weight just piles on out of nowhere. And that's one of the frustrations for women. So then we follow all these different gurus who claim they've got the answer to it all, and it might work for a bit, and then it just doesn't. And it's a source of frustration. Whereas if you have somebody who says, okay, I'm going to focus on you alone. I'm not going to say there's this one magical diet that everyone's following. It's just tailored for you. I mean, how magical is that?
Yeah, it's pretty magical. So your diagnostic process must be quite different to other, like when you're doing massage and things. If you were looking at everything holistically, what
Mm.
would your diagnostic process look like then for a client to determine that root cause?
So
Mm.
I tend to let people talk. So I ask them how it started, then we go back a bit more. And as they're talking, I would sort of piece together for me, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, or like the mind map that you always see on detective programs where we've got all this like red string going off all over the place. That's how I view a consultation. Usually I'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that reaffirms what I was thinking before. For example, I've got this lady she's just finished her cancer treatment, and that and when she was talking to me, I could tell she's got this underlying anxiety. She's just full of this nervous energy. And then she said, "Oh yeah, you might think this sounds silly," and I just went, "Nothing is silly to me. Everything is important. Everything's part of you, part of the jigsaw puzzle." And by the end of it, she just felt so much calmer because I listened to everything and I didn't ignore or brush off anything, which was the experience she had at her GP. She would say, "Oh, I don't know if this is important or relevant, but this has happened," and GPs were usually like, "That doesn't make sense. Why are you even telling me this?" They don't seem to they don't seem to draw those same lines
Yeah.
and put it together, and it is frustrating. I mean, I've had that experience when before I was diagnosed with endometriosis. That's something else as well, and to me, endometriosis is caused by chronic heavy periods that's ignored. Women put up with heavy periods because they're told it's normal.
Yeah.
And I think over time, after all that heavy bleeding, the blood has to go somewhere, so it leaks out. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I had all these like symptoms, like the bloating, where I felt like I was pregnant and things, GPs just to think, oh gosh, just a woman being um,
Yes.
hypochondriac, like, oh, it's just a bit
Yeah.
of bloating. Until you've had severe bloating and experienced it, people don't understand how
No.
excruciatingly painful it can be.
What I love at the moment, and I know it's just a trend on social media and stuff, is they're doing the period simulator on men,
How
right?
would you do that?
So they've got this, like, I don't know if it's like a TENS machine, and they're putting voltage through to simulate the pain of the period. And the men can't even stand it on like a level 1 or 2. And when they put it on a woman, she's like, oh, this, yeah, I'm on 8. Yeah, it's getting close. But the men are like doubled up, and these are big builders, big bodybuilders, and they can't handle it because they've not had to go through it, like, because we literally get trained to handle pain
Yeah.
on another level, and they've got no idea. So it's no surprise that the doctors dismiss it.
Mm.
Recently, it was last year actually, when you go to see the doctor in the UK, people in America are not aware, you get a random doctor generally these days, and I actually did get this amazing doctor who was a little Chinese lady, and it changed everything. It really did. And not that she was doing Eastern medicine or anything, but there was a different attention to detail there with this doctor who I'd never met before. And where I am now on my healing journey physically, I know I wouldn't have been there if I hadn't met that particular doctor, because it just changed. So maybe it was the traditional Eastern medicine side of things that influenced her, caregiving. I'm not sure, but it really impacted. And I was able to get seen and push through and, get x-rays, and whereas I wouldn't have got that before. So yeah, so I'm sure there's lots of people who've got endometriosis who might be watching this, and that was all to do with your back pain, was it, that you were originally getting?
Um, yeah, it's all tied up with all my chronic heavy periods that I got every month. Really bad PMS. Just awful. Just had an awful time and just put up with it because I was told that's your normal.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go on the pill. I didn't want to mess up. I didn't. I always grew up not believing in taking pills anyway, even paracetamol. That's just something.
Yeah, because it's
There's,
highly addictive. Yeah.
paracetamol doesn't even work anyway.
No. So I mean, we're not offering medical advice for YouTube purposes,
No.
and it's entertainment purposes only. However, but so when somebody came for you to book in with you, could you do things with people online, or does it have to be in person?
I'm thinking whether I can offer things online. So if I did things online, it would probably be a thorough consultation, and then give them, say, some advice on lifestyle change. Lifestyle change is key anyway, and it's great that everyone wants to come and see me, but the kind of clients I want to work with are the ones who are willing to also do the work. It's kind of like a 60-40. I do 40% of the work, but the 60% of the work is them. I'm
Yeah.
just there to facilitate the body's healing journey. Give the body the right environment and conditions to start healing itself.
Mm.
It's stuff like, when GPs say to people, one of the things I'm also passionate about is mental health. I'm basically passionate about everything, but mental health. When people go in and they're in an awful state, the fact they can get out of bed and go to see the GP is amazing anyway. You should get a round of
Yeah.
applause for doing that. But then to be told, go on an app or go for walks, go and join a group full of strangers and start gardening. It's like they're not in that right mental state to even socialize. Why would you even advise them to do something like that?
Yeah.
They've managed to get out of bed and see you. So, firstly, we need to get people in that state. Like, for example, something not as severe as depression, just not being able to sleep, by telling people, why don't you try this and this and this, and dim the lights, lie in bed, and have better sleeping habits. Sometimes it's not as easy as that. The brain just doesn't switch off.
Yeah.
So,
I find that I can get to sleep, but then I wake up intermittently throughout the night. And it isn't just that it's at 3 a.m. or whatever. It feels like I'm waking up every 15 minutes. That's how it feels for me. So I feel like I never really get into a dream state because I'm always waking up. And I've changed my job now, so I don't have such a stressful job. I'm not traveling as much and things like that, and it's still happening. So so I think it's a full, my whole body's out of balance, I think. Yeah. So, and we know, and we've got Kathy who's got chronic fatigue, and we've got Lee who's an oversleeper or an undersleeper. So we're all being affected by sleep issues. Yeah. Have you got
yeah.
any more advice for anyone
So,
about sleeping?
okay. Chronic fatigue, autoimmune disease, one of the main players are the kidneys. Tends to be a kidney issue. So, what we can do to help ourselves is we need, ideally, one of those deep wooden buckets. You can get it from Temu. Not that I've ever shopped at Temu, but and you soak your feet in warm water. When I say warm, it means when you first put your feet in, it's a bit like, oh god, a bit much, and then you slowly.
Does it have to be a wooden bucket?
Well, wooden's just nice, but yeah, if you don't have a wooden one,
Everybody.
anything that's like deep, so it goes all the
Yeah.
way up to your knees. So
Okay.
you're soaking like all
Yeah.
your whole calf, ideally. If you can't, because I know you don't get many like that. If you can get it, say, a palm's width above your ankle, that would be great as well. And you can even add things like ginger into it. And you can even add some Epsom salts and things. But what it needs to be is boiled water. You pour it in and then leave it to cool naturally. Don't add cold water, tap water. And then test it. And when you first put it in, it needs to be a little bit uncomfortable, where you have to keep taking it out until eventually you can just keep them in there. And then the heat will just be really soothing. So if you put it in when it's just right, it cools down really quickly. That's not warm enough to bathe your feet in. And if you do that just before bed, then you soak it for about half an hour, you'll have the best sleep, honestly.
That
And
sounds good.
you're warming your kidneys as well.
Yeah, because I think because sometimes I get like tingles in my back, and some of my spiritual tools is tingles through the body. But I think I think there could be tingles around the kidneys. So how would you know if you've got a kidney issue?
Okay. When you have a kidney issue, it tends to affect your energy, so tiredness. Um, you might have hearing problems because kidneys closely linked to your ears.
Okay, I've got two hearing aids on. So yep, tick, tick. Okay, what's next?
Oh, and I just remembered another tip. Black coloured food. That's ideal
Black
for
food.
black because every organ has a
Yeah.
colour associated with it. And for kidneys, it's
What's
black.
black food? What's black
Like
food?
black beans,
Oh, black beans.
black
Okay,
sesame.
right.
You can even get black rice if you go to Chinese supermarket, any
Yeah.
Asian supermarket. Um, those are the ones. Yeah,
Okay,
black
black
sesame is
beans.
really powerful.
Yeah, black sesame. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's doable. Yeah. All right. So any questions from the chat, you guys let me know. Just pop a question in the chat box. That'd be brilliant. Have you got anything coming up that you wanted to tell us about? Any new shows or programs or anything like that?
So it's in I'm working on it, but it will be launched for us this summer. So I'm going to do workshops focusing on women's health, especially the one about the Korean hand therapy. It's
Yeah.
something that people can learn and do at home, and it's great for chronic issues like fatigue, chronic fatigue, MS. I actually, one of my clients was a GP and she had MS, and then I taught her how to do it, and she did it at home for a month before she came back to my clinic and had proper treatments with me. And the difference in her is just incredible. She
Hmm.
went from barely having any energy to speak to just having more vibrancy. Unfortunately, because she is a GP, she's highly intelligent, and I've shown her how to do it. She had the whole box. She hasn't come back to my clinic because she could easily just Google like to replace the box. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I have seen pictures of her, and she just looks amazing.
Wow.
So I
Are there any hand points that we can activate
oh
ourselves?
for
Yeah.
for kidneys,
Yeah.
little finger represents the kidney.
Okay.
So if you massage it up and down, and if
Yeah.
you've got a gold is ideal. So from the waist up, you wear gold jewelry ideally. From the waist down, you're supposed to wear silver jewelry. That's one of the
Okay.
one of the science behind like jewelry. People didn't wear jewelry for decoration like they do now. Jewelry was actually medicine. They
Yeah.
believe that Egyptians wore earrings because that point in the earlobe is the brain, is the third eye.
Oh, wow.
That's why they were doing it.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get my ears pierced again.
But wear gold
Yeah, so
or
put some gold in there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's really interesting because I've noticed on my fingers that my index finger here is swollen on one hand, and then on the other hand, it's a different finger that's swollen.
Oh,
So I think pericardium, meridian, I don't know, on one hand.
okay.
And when I put my hands down, that's very stiff, very sore. Yeah, when I do that. So I do try because there's a chakra point there that we try and activate for generators. But sometimes it's very stiff. And at first I thought maybe it's just arthritis kicking in, but I think
Mm.
it's due to the high blood pressure. And I'm getting this water build up now. So I am starting to work on my hands more. So I know this is the kidney now. Yeah, but anything that we can do on our hands to help us with sleep. Or
Sleep.
yeah.
So the middle finger that represents so you've got the head on the top bit.
Yeah.
Then you've got the neck. Then you've got
Yeah.
the lungs. So
Okay.
if you massage the tip of your middle finger, that's actually your head. So
Okay.
that will just calm. That's basically do 20, your crown chakra. So that's what you're
Yeah.
massaging, and that will just calm everything down.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of why people are like, because
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So did you say you can't sleep? I can't
Yeah, I don't
practitioner.
sleep hardly.
So the
Yeah.
other one is just like three fingers, so two on the edges of
Yeah.
the inner eyebrow, and then
Okay.
middle finger in between, and you just stroke gently up. You don't even have to put any pressure, so you just stroke up really gently
Yeah.
with intention as well to just calm yourself. And I did that on a few of the spotlight talks when I went networking, and then I had
Mm.
a few women who said, "Oh, well, I used to do that to my baby." It's like, so instinctively we have all of this inside of us, as we all know. Because
Yeah.
everyone in this group are quite spiritual. We have the knowledge. It's about activating it and trusting our own instincts. So when people
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I used to do this, I used to do that," everything's instinctive. I went on a mama course recently, and the guy was saying, we naturally put our hands on someone's back to comfort them. That's actually a really powerful mama point there. So we're naturally using all these mama points, all these energy points all the time without realizing. It's just that someone's collected them, and not so much like formalize isn't the right way, but putting it together so they can pass on that knowledge in
Mm.
a way that's understandable for people who haven't tapped into this knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really powerful. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got these online Korean hand therapy courses coming up. Are they going to be in person or can we do that online?
They'll be in person because
Ah,
so for the first one I'm actually going to give a box, and then people can have that box to take home and use
yeah.
it, so that it's practical, because I want people to experience it as well. It's great for me to say, oh yeah, this really works. You can feel the heat going into your body. People be like, and I don't really want someone to burn something without having me seeing that they're doing it properly as well.
Yeah,
That's why.
that makes sense. So would that be at your clinic in Cheadle?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
But I don't mind travelling if someone's got if someone invites me. Nudge nudge,
Oh,
wink wink.
okay. Yeah, we do retreats and things like that up this way, and it's not that far. It's only a couple of hours, maybe 90 minutes from where you are. Um, yeah, it would be nice to do something in person,
Yeah.
which would be really, really cool. What's your favorite out of all the different modalities that you do? What's your favorite modality?
Okay, right. As you know, because you're a therapist yourself, don't we just keep adding to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I started looking into Ayurvedic medicine because
Mm.
that's the root of all medicine.
Yeah.
And as I said, mentioned just earlier, I started doing mama therapy,
Mm.
and that's basically the same as, well, I can't really say same,
I need to
but
look into that because I've not heard of that before.
that's where acupuncture points come from. It
Mm.
came from Buddhist monks who went over to China from India anyway. I know lots of people think acupuncture is Chinese, but the root of it came from Indian monks, Buddhist monks,
Mm.
and it heavily overlaps. They just added, instead of like 108 main points, which is what Ayurvedic medicine focuses on, they just doubled that. So they've got like 365 or something like that.
Wow.
But when I did mama therapy, I started practicing on my clients, and I've just had amazing results. So, for example, one client, this is my most recent one, the whole time, and I don't even touch the skin. So it's just all energy work. And Julia, you do energy work, so you
Yeah.
know. The whole time she thought I was dripping my very expensive essential oils on her. She's like, oh my gosh, May's using so much of her oil, poor May, like that. That's what she was thinking the whole time. And then she turned round and I did the front of her body. And again, she thought, oh my gosh, there's so much oil on my face. And at one point, she said she felt like there was a pool of oil collecting just in this like little notch here.
Yeah.
And another time, she felt little drips on her cheekbone, and she felt all this tingling. And she really did feel a lot of oil dripping on the third eye as well. And she was convinced she had loads of oil. So when she got off the couch, she was really, really, really puzzled. She wasn't greasy at all. There's no oil on her, and she was really baffled. And but as we were talking, I said, "Oh, it makes sense why you felt a pool of oil here, because that's where I held my hand to connect with her when she turned over onto her back." So I was connecting with her here and held it for about 3 minutes. So it was the energy pulling into this
Mm.
area.
Wow.
And she said she felt like oil dripping down the sides from her spine. And I said, oh, that's when I did a move where I was just stroking energy off from her spine.
Wow. This
And it's
sounds
just,
great.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just incredible. And you can use it for scar work as well, for scar healing. And that's what I did for the lady who's just finished her cancer treatment. She's left with some tiny scars.
Mm.
And I asked permission if I could treat them for her, and she allowed me. And she's noticed a fantastic difference. This is the person that's got a lot of trauma,
Mm.
because she had to look after her dad, and her dad passed away recently. And I think she's just, and she did have a terrible relationship. Don't know the details, but since then she's been single all her life since that one bad experience. So and she's got a lot of anxiety. She talks really, really fast. You know the kind of energy I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, that's like me. Yeah.
You're not talking fast. You just got a lot to say. It's different. And and then yeah. So at the end of the treatment, she just said she's really, really calm. This is the feedback she gave me. It's so beautiful. She said the Mama therapy was truly relaxing and very gentle. I felt
Mm.
the benefits straight away and the next day. It gently improved my mood and back pain. I felt uplifted and totally relaxed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
yeah. And so for the lady I did recently, the one who felt I was dripping loads of my expensive oil on her, I was just I was just working up her spine,
Mm.
and then I didn't touch her shoulder. She's got a lot of shoulder issues.
Mm.
People who do computer desk work. And I said,
Yeah.
how do your shoulders feel now? She said, oh my God, they just feel amazing. It's going to be her go-to treatment, by the way. So
Yeah.
she used to
Perfect.
have acupuncture, but now this is going to be her go-to. But she said, I just feel like my whole body was treated.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
magical. It's magical when you
Is
just,
this something that you can do at the shows at the Mind Body
yeah,
Spirit? Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we
Are
need to
you
have
coming
swaps
to
it.
Liverpool for the White Light event?
I'm not, when is it? I wonder if I've
It's the
missed
5th
it.
and 6th July.
Oh, I wonder if I've still got time.
It's an Aintree race course. It's a pretty big one. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
nice one. There's not that many therapists as well.
oh.
No. Mm.
I might get in
Yeah.
touch with them then. We should have swapsies, me and you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing.
And Kathy is also a Reiki master here in our
Oh
group. And
gosh.
yeah, and I had an amazing
I'm
Reiki
all
the other day, and it was so good.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
felt great.
That's what I asked my client, because she's got Reiki level 1, and I asked her, what's the difference between your
Yeah.
experience of Reiki and this Mama therapy work? And she said Reiki's more like feeling where energy is depleted, and that's when you sort of top it up. I can't remember how she worded it,
Okay.
and and then where there's excess energy, you're like drawing it away,
Mm.
and then you can feel the energy moving in and out. Whereas here, she said it's more like utilizing what the body's already got and just moving it into different
I like
places.
redistributing it. That's interesting.
Yeah. So she said,
Mhm.
I feel really calm, but I feel really relaxed, but don't feel, like tired. That's what she
Mm.
said. And two of my clients said, use the word straight. That's how they
Yeah.
describe themselves after the treatment. They said, I just feel really straight. I was like, okay.
That's, I'm going to Google it now.
It's
Uh,
incredible.
yeah, I've not heard of it before, but Ayurveda and Marma therapy, energy points in yogic healing. Does it sound like that? That's really
Yeah.
interesting. Thank you so much for introducing that to us. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be great to try that out. So we can get you an event near you. Have you got much in your show schedule coming up for the rest of the year?
No, I have been invited to one in September, and in my head, I've got like just the clogs are always wearing. I
Mm.
really want to put together an event for women, just focusing on women's health, more from like this group here.
Yeah,
From, I don't like using the word alternative, because for me, and you probably feel the same, I think it's really offensive. We're not alternative practitioners.
no, no.
We are the original practitioners,
Yeah,
the original healing
yeah,
from ancient times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
it's
Maria's saying, great talk, really interesting. A female-centered event would be great, she's saying.
oh, that's so kind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
does sound good.
instead of focusing, it's like there's loads of menopause talks. Last year I went to loads,
Mm.
and it's just all from like that kind of modern allopathic Western medicine angle, and
Yeah.
it's just
I
a
think
bit.
it's making me think about the red tent and how in olden times the women would go to the red tent and they'd be nurtured while they were there and they'd be with all the, all the elder ladies and
Hmm.
everything. And they go there to have some respite and healing and knowledge gathering and stuff like that. So yeah, we need more of the old traditional ways of healing the female body. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's lost because we've had so many generations where that knowledge has been lost, it hasn't been passed down the
Mm,
line because Western medicine's kind of invaded a few generations now.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
time we should bring that back. It's like a hag. I think women need to reclaim that word hag. I looked it up. That
Yeah.
was originally a celebratory word to celebrate that time where women are respected, the female
Yeah.
elders.
Yeah.
Even in tribal cultures now, female elders are really well respected,
Yeah.
and these women, they don't have the same suffering as in the West because they can't wait to reach that milestone in their lives
Mm.
because then finally they are the go-to person for all the knowledge
Yeah.
to be
It's
passed
like that
down. Yeah,
crone
yeah,
status. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm a crone these days. Even though my son's only 15, I've already entered the crone phase because I'm actually a lot older than I look. And I've finished all of my witches school training. So we end up in the old crones group then. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, we reclaim the hag.
yes.
There must be another word, surely.
Yeah, but that's even you think there should be another word, but no, why another word? We should
Yeah.
reclaim hag, reclaim crone. That should
Yeah.
be a movement. And I think that's why Western women are struggling with that phase because it's not just the physical symptoms, it's
Mm.
also the mental side. So many people struggle to even admit that they are going through the changes
Yeah.
because society makes them feel old and it feels like makes them feel like they should be discarded.
Yeah. That's true. I
Like,
mean, I'm 50 this year. I'm 50 in November. So, and it's my sister's birthday today, and she's 55. And this year she's saying it quite proudly. Whereas 10 years ago, when she's 45, and she couldn't even say it because she felt so old. And then now she's claiming, "Hey, I'm 55." So yeah, it feels quite good to think I'm turning 50. I never actually thought I'd be this old, to be honest. I really didn't think I'd get this old. So now I'm claiming it. I'm a crone. I'm an old crone. And it's great because there's a sense of freedom that comes with that as well when you get to a certain age.
yeah,
Yes, yeah. And I'm going to
yeah.
claim it.
And I think events shouldn't be isolated to, like age groups or gender.
Yeah,
I know it's focusing on women's health, but I think
yeah, yeah,
people have partners, people have sons, and
mm,
they need to have this knowledge as well. And young
yeah.
girls definitely need to have that knowledge.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there should be more interaction with schools to
Mm.
teach, yeah, this kind of thing in schools, I think, for, yeah,
Because
adolescents. Yeah,
why do Japanese women not experience it? It's because they have, and although Western, like things like McDonald's and KFC have
yeah,
kind of like filtered into
for sure. Yeah.
Japan, but they still have a really, everything's cooked fresh, it's cooked on the day, everything's
Yeah.
um
Plus, their
bought.
society is all about balance as well. Their whole
Yeah,
society, that nothing should look out of place. So whether it's the size of your body or your home or whatever, everything should be in balance so that it's all working in harmony. That's their whole society. We've lost that. We've lost that way. But it's up to us to bring that back, I think, isn't it?
yeah, respect
Yeah.
nature as well. I mean, because I live in Stockport bordering on Manchester, it's just see new developments all the time. They have
Yeah.
no respect for nature. In the east, there's like feng shui, there's all different ways of like checking whether it's in balance with the environment where you should build and things.
Hmm.
I think over here we just kind of lost that respect,
Yeah,
just
I
chucking
agree.
things at any any old place.
Yeah, especially Manchester. When you go to Manchester and you look at all the different styles of buildings, and you've got some really old, beautiful, and you've got these skyscrapers next to it, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on with the architecture now? It's insane.
Even roads, things don't flow. That's an energy as well. Traffic is an
Mm.
energy. This is why people are frustrated, because they don't build roads in a way. When they have new developments, they don't think about where is all this excess traffic going to go. Traffic
No.
in a way is like energy in our body. It's just everything's just stagnating.
Yeah.
And currently, I know people, lots of young people worried, and people are worried because of the way things are. The problem with the 1% is that kind of financial hoarding is not good for the whole world. There's,
Yeah.
money is energy, so that's not even distribution. So that's
No.
stagnation again, and that causes disharmony and uprising.
Yeah. I
And I
agree.
think people forget. I mean, the world wars wasn't that long ago. I know we're kind of
No.
digressing from health, but I suppose this is kind of like health. It's not that long ago, and people just forget so quickly. The idea is we shouldn't really be so greedy, because this is what happens when we have too much greed. And then now we
Yeah.
see it because we've had peace for so long in the West, people forgetting, and
Yeah.
that greed's just like creeping back.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in India and for 10 years, and I had friends who bought something years ago and they still had it in its original box, wrapped in plastic and put away because
Oh,
they treasured their possessions. And then here we buy new things, we throw the boxes, oh, I'll get a new one and all that. But there, it took them a long time to get the money to buy whatever that item was, and it's treasured. And we used to be like that in the 60s and 70s, and then maybe 80s, and then the 90s. It's just a throwaway society now, isn't it? So
it's was
not good.
brainwashed to be consumerist.
Yeah.
That's a, we are kind of in a way programmed to make money and then
Mm.
use it to give it back to them, give it
Yeah.
back to masters where we actually made the money from in the first, earned it from in the first
Yeah.
place. I mean, if you go far back enough, this came up on something. It's so cheeky. Like when people were paid in cash, what they did was they pay the men, the labourers, they make them go to the pub to collect their wages in cash. But then they would make sure they open a tap for all the workers,
Mm.
and the foreman, say, would only pay them at the end when it's like last orders. So all their wages, hard earned
Yeah.
wages, just goes back behind the bar. So they were in cahoots, the foreman
Yeah.
and the pub landlord.
That's bad. Yeah.
And this is kind of like a 21st century version of it. We slave away in our jobs, earning all this money, and then we brainwash with all this marketing to
Yeah.
buy the latest, really expensive fashion that you can't afford,
Mm.
or all these things that we don't actually need, and people don't save because they think, oh, I need to have these things, and all the money just goes back, and people say it, don't they? Oh, as soon as money comes in, it just goes straight back out,
Yeah.
and
And
every
it's the physicality of the money as well is slipping away, because you need to
oh
hold
gosh,
that
yeah.
physical money to make that energetic connection. And we're doing that less and less now. So we're just doing the swipe and the tap, and you don't have the same relationship with money that you would have if you were holding the physical
Mm,
paper notes. Yeah, the energetic connection is lost in a way. So there's a disassociation with the money because we're not physically handling it anymore. Yeah.
mm,
Mm.
gosh.
This has been so good. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we would love to have you back on absolutely anytime. Please let everybody know how they can get in touch with you. And if you've got anything else coming up that you want to promote, now's a great time to do that.
Okay, the people, if they want to follow me, I've got social media. My Instagram handle is at CALMA Healing Space. That's spelled HEALINGSPACE. And it's the same for Facebook as well. If you're on Facebook, it just
Mm.
hasn't got space. So if you type in Karma Healing, it will come up anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. Are you getting a website? Because I noticed you don't have a website, but you've got a fresher booking page.
My friend is building it, but
Nice.
because he loves me so much, he's spending absolute ages to try and get it perfect. So yeah, but he is putting all his time and effort into it, so I can't wait until it's finished.
Yeah,
I've,
but I mean, I googled you and everything, and yeah, you can go directly to your booking page, which is on Fresher, your Facebook, Instagram, and everything all pops up. So that's brilliant. All right, so thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Julia. It's been great. Could talk to you all evening. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we're getting into really deep stuff towards the end.